So example, we have a distance time graph, and this was a distance time graph. Say this is a full graph which explain the motion, distance time or displacement time. It cannot be distance time because according to like vector quantities, as the object move towards the mean position, its distance is always increasing, displacement will decrease. Now what happened? This graph is having two patterns. So you will first divide this graph into parts, from part A to B, and then from B to C. Now from A to B, what happened to the slope? What happened to the slope from A to B? Increasing, decreasing, constant, or zero? What happened to the slope? Slope is decreasing. So slope decrease, and for a distance time graph, slope represents speed. So speed should also decrease. And what about the value of the speed or the velocity, positive or negative? Which axis I will start with, positive axis or negative? So it will be positive because when you check the position of y1 and y2 for this point, you will find y2 is above y1. So if y2 is above y1, it shows that it is a positive value for the slope. And from B to, so it's a positive value. But from B to C, what happened? What happened to slope? What happened to the slope from B to C? Increasing, decreasing, constant, or zero? So slope is increasing, as we discussed already this part. And what about, so if slope is increasing, means the speed should also increase. And what about the value, positive or negative? So it will be negative value. Now for this graph, for this motion, distance time graph or displacement time graph, we have to make a velocity time graph. So how we can make a velocity time graph? So first from A to B, speed should decrease in a positive axis. So speed should decrease in a positive axis, like speed should start with a maximum value and it should start to decrease. You can see like it started with a higher value, then speed is decreasing. This is a graph from A to B. And why I read zero here, you can see when it is exactly horizontal, what about the slope? The slope is zero. If the slope is zero, it means the speed is zero. That's why I reach 0 point. So this is, I'm sketching a velocity time graph. First I did from A to B. So this is point A, this one is point B. But from point B to C, the slope is increasing, it means speed is increasing. But in which axis the speed is increasing? A negative axis, the negative value of the slope. So I will continue this graph. I will continue this graph and shows that from B to C, the speed is also increasing. You can see like this will be -1 speed, this will be -2, -3, -4. So the value of the speed is increasing, but in a negative axis. Is it clear? The velocity time graph for this object? From a distance time graph, I plot a velocity time graph. Because from A to B, the slope was decreasing, and at B, the slope is 0. That's why from A to B, the speed is decreasing. But which axis speed was decreasing? You can see from A to B, the slope was positive. So this is +1, +2, +3, +4. I'm just taking a number so that you understand the idea or concept. So slope is decreasing, it means the speed is decreasing. And which axis the speed is decreasing? A positive axis. So if it start with a maximum value, it start to decrease. At B, the speed is 0. So you can see at point B, the speed is 0. From B to C, what happened? The slope is increasing, it means the speed is increasing. But in negative axis, that's why we extend the line in a negative axis. Is it clear? Now, from velocity time graph, we have to sketch a speed time graph, acceleration time graph. So for velocity time graph, slope represent, this was for the slope represent acceleration. So this whole part was for this graph. Now from A to B, for velocity time graph, from A to B, what happened to slope? Increasing, decreasing, constant, or 0? From A to B, it's a straight line, so it is constant. And what about the value? If slope is constant, it means acceleration is constant. Acceleration is not changing. And what about the value for acceleration, positive or negative? The value of the slope. So value will be negative, so that will be negative value. From B to C, what happened to the slope? It's also a straight line, so straight line means constant. So if slope is constant, acceleration will be constant. And what about the value? It will also be negative, because when I check y1 and y2, so you can see y1 is above y2, so it will also be negative. So from A to B, it's a constant negative value, and from B to C, it's also a constant and negative value. If the line is a straight, a continuous line, it means the slope of AB is same as slope of BC. If it was a straight line but discontinuous, it means the slope will be different. So from A to B, it's a straight line in a negative axis, because it's a constant acceleration, negative value. And from B to C, it's also a constant acceleration and negative value. So when we complete acceleration time graph, so this is point A, point B, point C. This was acceleration 0, this is negative acceleration. The top one will be positive acceleration. So you can see we were having a distance time graph. So using a distance time graph, we got speed time graph or velocity time. And from velocity time graph, we sketch the acceleration time graph. Is it clear? Yeah, what about others? Any doubt? Okay. So this is about the graph. Then for motion or movement, if object is moving with constant speed, then the formula which relates speed, distance, and time, speed is equals to distance divided by time. But if an object is accelerating, constant acceleration or constant change in speed or deceleration, constant change in speed or decrease in speed, deceleration, then what we have to do, we will use equation of the motion. So you have to learn these equations of motion. The equation of motion, the first one, V is equals to U plus AT. The second equation, 2AS is equals to V square minus U square. The third, S is equals to U T plus half AT square. And the last one, S is equals to U plus V divided by 2 multiplied by T. It's like U plus V divided by 2 and then it's multiplied. It's not like this whole part. Maybe you will be confused with this. So it's like U plus V divided by 2 multiplied by T. And 2AS is equals to U V square minus U square, or S is equals to UT plus half AT square. What is the meaning of these UV? So U stands for starting speed or initial speed. V stands for the final speed or velocity. A is the acceleration or deceleration. So if it's acceleration, you will put a positive value, and if it is deceleration, you will substitute a negative value. Where S is a distance travel, T is a time. So whenever it depends on the question, like what is unknown, according to the question, you will use a specific equation. So these are the four equations of the motion. V is equals to U plus AT, S2AS equal V square minus U square, S is equals to UT plus half AT square, and S is equals to U plus V divided by 2 multiplied by T. So you have to learn these equations. We will do questions related to these equations as well. I will share some questions with you. So in this one, you can see super tanker of mass 4 exponent 8 cruising at an initial speed of 4.5. So that's U. It take 1 hour to come to rest. So when something stops, the final is 0. Time interval is 1 hour or 60 minutes, but you have to take time in second. So will 60 minute multiply by 60 to convert them into seconds. So 6 multiplied by 6, 36. So 3600 seconds. A deceleration. So how to calculate a deceleration? So if you check the equation, the first equation, you have to check accordingly. Like example, you have v is equals to u plus at. So I have the final speed 0 is there, initial speed is there, time interval is there, so I can find its acceleration. The equation in which two unknowns are there, then I cannot use that equation. So in this equation, I can use v equal u plus at. So I have the final speed 0, initial speed was 4.5, acceleration we don't know, and the time is 3600. So that's multiplied, other 4.5 first move there, so it will be minus 4.5 is equals to a multiplied by 3600. 3600 is multiplied, other side it will divide, so it will be 4.6 divided by 3600. You will get its deceleration. The distance traveled by the tanker while slowing down. So we need a distance travel again. If you check the equation, so we have acceleration because we calculated in the previous part. We know the final velocity, we know the initial velocity, so we can use the second equation, or you can use this equation as well. You have initial velocity, final velocity, and time, so you can use the fourth equation. So it's up to you. Any equation you can use, you will get the same answer if you are substituting the values correctly. So the distance travel while slowing down, so if I'm using s is equals to u plus v divided by 2 multiplied by t. Use the starting speed, that's 4.5, final speed is 0. So this is 4.5 plus 0 divided by 2 times, because the time interval is 1 hour, but time should always be in second. So 3600, and I will solve, get the final answer. Is it clear? Discussion equation. And why we are not using, like example, why I did not use the simple formula that we know speed is distance over time. But this formula is only valid when the object is moving with a constant speed. But here originally it was 4 and finally it is 0. So it's not a constant speed. That's why you cannot use this formula. Then the distance time graph sketching is there. I will share this file with you so you can solve. A cheetah accelerating uniformly from rest reaches 29 meter per second in 2 seconds and then maintain this speed for 15 seconds. Calculate its acceleration. So it started from rest. So started from rest, initial is 0, final is 29, and time is 2 seconds. So we have the formula equation of motion. V is equals to u plus at. So v is the final speed. What's the final speed? That's 29. U is the initial speed, that is 0. A is acceleration, we don't know, and the time is 2. So this will be acceleration will be 29 divided by 2, will get the acceleration, which is about 14.5 meter per second square. The distance traveled while it is accelerating. So distance traveled while it is accelerating, you have acceleration now, you have final initial, even so you can find S is equals to U plus V divided by 2 multiplied by T. So U is 0 here in this example. Final speed is 29 divided by 2, which will make 14.5 multiplied by 2. That's make simply 29 again. So 29. The distance traveled while it is moving at a constant speed. Because I mentioned it accelerated for 2 seconds and then for 15 seconds, it moved with a constant speed or maintained the speed. So what's the meaning? Like first part, it was accelerating and so here the speed was 0. And after 2 seconds, the speed is equals to 29 meter per second. And then it maintained this 29 meter per second. It does not change this 29 meter per second for how long? For 15 seconds. So now because the speed does not change, so I can use the formula. Speed is distance over time. So I have the speed, which is 29. I know the time 15. So 29 multiplied by 15, I will know the distance traveled when it move with a constant speed. Is it clear? Discussion? Any doubt in this? So this is a graph, speed time graph for cheetah is given. Already we worked out. The cheetah and the antelope are both at rest and 100 meter apart. Means the distance between the antelope and the cheetah was 100 meters. The cheetah chase the antelope, and antelope take 0.5 second to react. Means for 0.5 second the antelope remain at rest. It then accelerates uniformly for 2 seconds to a speed of 25 and then maintain this speed. The graph shows the speed time graph for cheetah. Use the same axis, plot a speed time graph for the antelope. So how you'll sketch or plot the speed, because all the information is given. For 0.5 second it took to react. So for 0.5 second, like here between 0 and 5 there are 10 boxes, so each point is representing half or 0.5. So 0.5 second it will start and it accelerated for 2 seconds. Like where's the time interval 2? So this is 2, this one is 1 and 2. This one is 2. Yeah. So for 2 seconds, at 2 seconds, it reaches a speed of 25. So it reaches a speed of 25. And then maintain this speed. So it maintained 25, but for how long, that is not mentioned. Calculate the distance covered by antelope in 17 seconds after the cheetah started to run. So if you need a distance travel, it's a speed time graph. For speed time graph, remember the distance travel is area under the graph. So what we will do, till 17 seconds, like we will extend this graph till 17 seconds. 16 and this is 17. So we'll find area under the graph. How to find area under the graph? The triangle is there. Speed time graph. So triangle and rectangle. So you'll get the distance traveled by the cheetah. Or what you can do, you can first find for like the distance travel in 2 seconds and then find with the constant speed, find the distance and then sum them the total distance in 15 seconds and total distance in 17 seconds. How far apart the cheetah and the antelope? So how you will work out this, how far a cheetah and antelope apart, like already they mentioned in the beginning, example, a cheetah and antelope 100-meter apart, means between them they have 100 meters. So you will find the total distance traveled by the antelope. I'm just giving example, like example you got 200, example you got 200 meter, and in the same 17 seconds you will find the distance traveled by the cheetah. So that will give you the distance traveled by the cheetah, and this is the distance traveled by antelope, but already they are 100-meter apart. So what we will take, we will take a difference, like what is with this, how we'll get this value, the difference distance traveled by antelope plus 100 minus the distance traveled by the cheetah will give us what is the difference between the two animals. Is it clear, this question? When you will solve, we will understand this, like the values, but the theoretically you can do in this manner. Any doubt in this part? Any doubt in this one? In the next question, they mention an aircraft accelerate horizontally from rest. So initial velocity is 0. It takes off with a speed of 82. That's the final. The mass of the aircraft is 5.6 exponent 4. The engine provide a constant thrust of 1.9 exponent. Find the initial acceleration. So how to find the acceleration? You have the formula F is equals to ma. Force is equals to mass multiplied by acceleration. You have the force, the thrust is there. You have the mass, so you can get the acceleration. The minimum length of a runway, so means the total distance traveled by the aircraft is equals to the length of the runway, the minimum length. Like runway length should be long, the runway should be longer than that, but that's a minimum length for the for a runway so that the plane can take off. So what's a minimum length? You need a distance, so you can use this formula 2as equal v square minus u square. So you have acceleration from your previous part, which is F divided by m, the thrust divided by mass. You have the final velocity, which is 82. You have initial velocity, which is 0. Just substitute. So you will get the distance. It will be v square minus u square divided by 2a. Is it clear, discussion? So today we discuss motions and graph and the equations of the motion. Any doubt related to the class today? Okay, so I'll end the session, share the recording as well as the weekly homework with you.